All right, what a great time to celebrate everything red because it is American Heart Month. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being with us as we celebrate Heart Month by cooking something healthy, talking about some amazing statistics. We have a really fun story that we followed up on years later to see how our star of that story is doing. So lots happening today.
Yes, it's going to be a good one. We're excited to show you this recipe, very easy one that you can make at home.
All
and we're going to get going here soon.
We have a lot of people waiting for us to get the cooking going. The KREM 2 newsroom is like, we want some more. Okay, I'm Laura. This is Vinny. We get together about once a month and we cook something and share it with you. And we wanted to do something heart healthy, of course, as people are celebrating American Heart Month. The whole American Heart Month Go Red campaign, obviously Vinny and I are in red. You'll see people all month long in red. We recently just had National Wear Red Day.
This past Friday.
So the 6th. So we did that because, and everybody here got involved. It's really just a reminder to take care of your heart, to love yourself, to take care of those around you. And one of the best ways to do that is with healthy eating. I'm not always the best at cooking everything really healthy.
Yeah, same.
It
can be hard sometimes.
It can be hard, but it can also be very easy and rewarding when you do it. So today we are making, ta-da, here, Super Dave, come on over. He's operating camera today, and he'll be following along as we're going. One of the best things you could do, Vinny, to get started is to cook it in a heart-shaped pan.
Got to.
It's like, I wait for February, right?
Yeah.
All right, so come on over here. Let's show this. Step right in, Dave. You don't have to be shy here. So we're going to be cooking 12 heart-shaped, you can call them egg bites. We're calling them egg muffins, egg bites.
Yeah.
Whatever sounds.
I think egg bites. I think these feel like more egg bites.
Well, and I think people understand egg bites. Like that wasn't a thing. Maybe for you, Vinny, it was growing up. For me, it's kind of an older phenomenon, or I came to it later in life. All right, so we're making that because a couple of reasons. Number one, the American Heart Association has some amazing healthy recipes. This was one of them.
Yeah.
It's very adaptable, is why we're cooking this. And it's usually, you can make it for people who maybe need low salt, or maybe people who are vegetarian. In fact, we're making a vegetarian one today.
Oh, great.
If I were cooking for my husband, I would have to shove a bunch of meat in it.
Yeah.
Which you can do that and still be healthy. But today we're doing just a vegetarian. All right, so Vinny, I'm going to get you started. You go ahead and start cracking the eggs in here. We're going to start with a dozen eggs. I'm going to tell you the ingredients, and while we're cooking, we're going to then join in on a quick story. So ingredients, come on over here, Dave. We have a dozen eggs. You can cut this in half. I do all the time. Oh no, Vinny.
I know.
Shell.
I know.
We'll have to give that to someone we don't like. That one anyway. We have a dozen eggs. We have red pepper. I used fresh red pepper. The recipe actually calls for peppers in a jar, Vinny, and I don't use things generally in a jar. We have, you're supposed to use low-fat feta. I couldn't find low-fat. I used regular, but for the healthiest version, you can use a lower fat. Milk. I had to use a lactose-free one for some folks in our newsroom and in my life. You can use chives. Lots of seasoning, which I'll explain later. Spinach, and that's kind of it. In the meat, while Vinny fishes out the shells, and I start combining things. We're going to listen in on a story that talks about American Heart Month, that talks about taking care of ourselves, the Go Red movement, all the good things as we celebrate February and taking care of your heart and the hearts of those you love. All right, let's listen in.
It's been 4 years since Beth Opal suffered a massive heart attack. She experienced symptoms on the way home from a trip with her sister.
Really uneasy and uncomfortable. There was a little pressure on my neck. I had some achiness in my arms and definitely my back.
Knowing her family history, her mom had a heart attack at age 50, Beth headed for the ER. The type of heart attack she experienced is called a widowmaker because it's often fatal.
The entire left side was blocked, so I'm very fortunate that I got there in time.
Beth is in this year's American Heart Association Go Red for Women class of survivors, raising awareness.
Most women will show up with the classic chest pain, chest pressure. However, some women can show up with nausea, sweaty feeling, chest burning, back pain, left arm pain, just not feeling right as a manifestation of their heart attack.
Northwell Health cardiologist Dr. Jennifer Merez says heart disease is preventable, so know the risk factors. They include high blood pressure, diabetes, elevated cholesterol, obesity, lack of sleep, and cardiovascular conditions during pregnancy.
Choose to move every day. Have a colorful plate. We now know that if you get less than 7 hours of sleep, that can have an amplifying effect on your risk for heart disease.
Beth is following that advice.
I definitely try to minimize stress. I try to do things that are calming, like playing the piano and taking walks. I try to eat healthy. I'm just lucky to be alive, and I'm just here to tell everybody about listening to the signs and knowing your history.
It could save your life. Mary Nichols, CBS News, Salt Lake City.
Sorry.
She talks about knowing your signs, knowing your history, all those important things, getting lots of sleep, and she talks about making colorful plates and eating healthy.
Yeah, because it can be fun. I know a lot of people I think are overwhelmed or
intimidated.
Think of like healthy eating as this like very draining kind of thing, but it really doesn't have to be.
And Vinny and I both, this is something we have in common, we relax in the kitchen by cooking, especially for others. So we are making a heart-healthy egg bite recipe that is available on the Heart Association website, but also, Vinny, you'll be posting it on what, Instagram?
Well, we could do it to KREM.com.
KREM.com.
We'll have a link available for you guys to get this recipe so that you can make it on your own.
Okay, so Vinny is whipping up 12 eggs. I've got the rest of the ingredients here. I'm gonna, during a quick commercial, I'm going to start gathering and putting them together, and then coming up, we talked with someone who was actually a KREMie. She worked at KREM years ago. She had multiple heart surgeries as a child, and then she is now a thriving adult who just actually got some really great news about her heart. So we will share that with you. We like good news, so we're sharing it whenever we can. So we will be right back, and we are celebrating Heart Month here on KREM 2+. American Heart Month, and we are celebrating it all month here at KREM 2 and KREM 2+. As to, we are in the kitchen where we always go when we celebrate anything, right?
Anything with a month with it, we try to cook something related to it.
We cook something related to it. I'm Laura, this is Vinny. We find relaxation and a little bit of zen by cooking for our counterparts.
I'm in a very, very therapeutic state right now.
He's just
putting this together.
Away. We are making heart-shaped egg bites. I keep calling them egg muffins. They're really egg bites, and they have lots of good veggies in them. Kids will eat them. You can sneak all sorts of vegetables in, and then of course it has lots of protein. It is on the American Heart Association website. We'll be posting it on KREM.com as well. But while we pour it into our heart-shaped pan, because everything we do today is about red and hearts and all of that, we are going to listen in to a story that we did a few years back. It's been more than a few years, I think. 6, 7, 8 years ago. We did a story with a friend here. She worked at KREM 2 at the time, and she had this amazing story to tell about her heart. So we want you to listen in, and then we'll make some introductions afterward.
A news environment can be loud and chaotic. A lot of talking.
Well, thanks so much for being with us here on KREM 2 News at noon.
So that the personal stories of the people around you can sometimes get lost. Tasha Kane is an online producer. Her focus is her computer.
Sweating.
But one day recently, during a meeting in the newsroom, she stopped and listened. And then she spoke very quietly.
Oh, by the way, I've had a few open heart surgeries, and Heart Week's really important to me, so let me know what I can do.
In a room full of people who know her, no one was aware that the 22-year-old producer was born with a heart defect and had multiple surgeries by the age of 5.
It's terrifying. It's not something that I tell people where I'm just like, I've had a bunch of heart surgeries and I've got scars. Sometimes, you know, you can see it peeking out on the chest and they're like, I don't mean to be like weird or rude, but what's that from? So I had an ASD, an atrial septum defect, so I basically had a hole in one of the ventricles into the aorta.
When Kane was 3, she had her first surgery, and that proved unsuccessful. She remembers not being able to keep up with the other kids.
I remember probably younger than I was here, kind of having to wear a heart monitor because most kids, it'll heal itself. But back in the 90s, like now they're little discreet, they look like cell phones, but back then they were these big things you had to wear and they'd stick you up. And I remember none of the other kids had that, and so I was kind of like, I'm a little weird.
Then when she was 5, her family got in the car and traveled from Miles City, Montana to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Kane can remember being bored, but had her favorite music with her. Johnny Cash and John Denver. When she arrived, she had open heart surgery.
I want people to know that it's scary. It's scary when you're a little kid and you don't know what's going on, and it's scary when you're an adult.
That surgery was successful, and there has been tremendous improvement in the successful treatment of congenital heart defects. In the late 1970s, 1-year survival rate for critical heart defects was at 67%. By 2005, it was at 83%. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Kane continues to have an occasional problem related to her heart defect, but for the most part, she is considered healthy. She works, exercises, even sings when requested.
Country road, take me home.
And she doesn't take her health for granted. She speaks up.
That's how many women in America are affected by heart disease.
Often talking at heart health-related events. And sometimes she speaks quietly from her little corner of the newsroom, encouraging those around her to take care of themselves as well. Reporting in Spokane, Laura Papetti, KREM 2 News.
All right, that was a feature that we did on Tasha Kane. She was working alongside us in the newsroom. She has since moved on to a much more, I was going to say much bigger career.
No.
But also in watching this, I know Tasha. I keep in touch with Tasha, and I thought we haven't asked her about her heart in a long time. So we always like to give an update. So welcome to our little cooking show here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
As we celebrate American Heart Month, and specifically during February, they celebrate a week dedicated to congenital heart problems, which is what you had.
Yep, I had a hole in my heart, and it is genetic. So actually, my mom just found out she had one in 2025 and had to have heart surgery in June for it.
Wow, you never knew that before.
Nope.
So, okay, so making a little more sense then for you, right?
Yep, we're like, oh, yes.
Yeah, this is where, okay. So you shared some great news when I called you about doing this. You said, well, funny enough, I just had a checkup. And what did they say?
Yes, so when we ran that package, they were like, okay, don't come back until you're 30. And that was 8 years ago. So I'm 30 now. I know you can't tell. But I went in and got my checkup, and honestly, doing the paperwork took longer than the actual appointment. Aww. They hooked me up to all the beep boops, and they're like, you're good, you're still boring. See you later.
You like boring. When you go to the
we like boring. We like boring. It's a great sign.
That's a good sign. Yeah.
Well, so to put some things in perspective, since that story ran on KREM 2, you've since gotten married.
Yes.
You started new jobs.
Yes.
Made new friends, lived your life. So we talk a lot about numbers are part of the story, but it's really behind every number is a person. And we wanted to celebrate that with you today as we were shooting this. So are there limitations to what you can do because of your heart?
No, not now. I'm boring and normal and can do anything. No excuse not to
get up and
exercise,
go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
exactly.
Good. Oh, we love it. All right. Well, the other thing we'd like to do is whatever the issue with a heart, sometimes we have a vision of what that person should look like, or that they should be a certain age. And no, the faces of heart disease are varied and dramatic. And so we want to celebrate everyone who has, like Tasha, had issues and not only survive but thrive, but also to encourage everyone, if you don't know what's happening or you just have a feeling, take yourself seriously. I know you're a proponent of lobbying for yourself and taking care of yourself.
Yeah, and I'm just so glad that my mom did that recently. It's so important. It probably saved her.
Because your mom, it's the same situation.
Yep, she didn't know. She lived her life and it was totally normal, and then she went in for a checkup or something and they were like, something's not quite right, and bada bing, bada boom, she had surgery in June and she's great now.
Because she was active in her health. I love that.
That's great to hear.
That is great
That's
to hear.
awesome.
All right, Tasha, thanks for celebrating American Heart Month with us.
Thank you so much for having me. These would be great on an English muffin.
Thank you. They would be great. We are baking up, these are heart-shaped, let's see, egg bites. I keep having to think about what they're called. I made a little bit of a mess on the pan, but they're going to bake up. They're going to be beautiful. And they are on the American Heart Association website as well as KREM.com. So we are celebrating everyone. We talk a lot about it's the #1 killer of women, heart disease. Well, it is the #1 killer. And that means that someone in your life, if not yourself, has or is going to deal with a heart issue. And so the best thing we can do is talk about it, get it out there, support research, funding, all of that. And you can also advocate for yourself and your heart. Okay, we're gonna pop these in the oven and we'll be right back. And I'm gonna come back and share a little bit of a story about someone who is very special to me, who is a 2-time heart attack survivor. We'll be right back. All right, everyone. Thanks for being with us as we celebrate American Heart Month.
Yeah, great to hear from Tasha there.
Here on KREM 2+. We just heard from Tasha Kane. She was a KREM 2 employee. 7-8 years ago, we covered a story about how she had congenital heart disease. As a child, they discovered it, and she had multiple surgeries by the time she was 5 years old. And then we just checked in with her, and she just got a clean bill of health that said basically don't come back for another 10 years. Get out there, live your life. So, Tasha, thank you. And speaking, though, of people who, we don't always know the face of heart disease because it's indiscriminate. It affects people of all ages. Congenital heart disease, again, affected her she was born with it. Right up to, again, people later on in life who maybe develop cardiovascular disease, and it could be related to diet. It could be related to your genetics. You don't know. So I wanted to talk about somebody. I'm going to show a picture here. This is my mom, and my mom is a 2-time heart attack survivor. There's some debate if it's been 4 or 5 angioplasties. My dad used to always say, I think it's 4. My mom's like, nope, it's 5. And she knows. So we are celebrating her. I am celebrating her this month. And I'm showing this picture. And I'm showing specifically a picture of her with my daughter as well. Because before I got married and before I had my little girl, who's now 18, she was having some issues. Very minor symptoms, but she took them to heart. No pun intended. She took them seriously and went and sought medical treatment. And at the time, they were like, you're fine, which was common, Vinny. And I think in some cases still, she didn't look like she had heart disease. She's tall, thin, she, vibrant. She just, at the time, and she had a really great cardiologist. It was like, no, I think there's something here. So she was an advocate for herself. And so part of American Heart Month is advocating for yourself, taking yourself seriously. Don't worry about it. If you feel like there is something wrong or you're just not sure what is going on, something isn't quite right, ask. Worst that could happen is they tell you, no, you look great and you're healthy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of information out there as well. We want to just make sure we touch on. Visit the American Heart Association website. Lots of great information, including some recipes. We'll
add the one that we just made on that link. And if you see on the bottom of your screen, if you text HEART to 509-448-2000, you'll get a link with all the resources you need to know for this month.
Yeah, which is great. And also want to show a quick pic. It's still cooking while we're taping, so we are going to add this picture afterward of our heart-shaped, what do you call them? Egg bites.
Yes.
keep forgetting what they're.
I can already tell you they look great.
They're going to look great, taste great. You don't need a heart-shaped pan. That was just, I have several of them. I'm obsessed with hearts and everything red. Okay. So that is it for us as we celebrate American Heart Month. We just encourage everyone to take themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
apart.
Before we go though,
Yes.
what would you, like as someone, like in your everyday life, what would you say is something that you would like do to like help like increase your heart health? Like I know for me it's just like, may not feel like a lot of exercise, but just like 30 minutes of active movement just to get the blood pumping and things like that. That's something I personally do. Is there something that maybe you do?
I'm not as good as I should be, but I'm a really big advocate of knowing your numbers because that's what I've always been told. Get a checkup, right? We're not always great with preventative health care, but know your numbers, know your blood pressure, and take also your body seriously. Again, I don't think you can dismiss anything when it comes to your heart health. So those things I try to do, and I try to take my heart and my health seriously, and I try to walk a lot. When I go to the store, I'll park far away. I walk every morning and try to, at least like you said, just get out there for a little bit.
Yeah.
When it comes to eating, I like food, and so I'm not always the greatest, but I do cook my own food and know what the ingredients are.
Well, I mean, and even like the recipe we just made, there's other things out there that you can make that can benefit help your heart as well.
And just keep you overall just healthier.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Have an absolute great day. Love your heart, and we will see you for our next show. What's our next one? Sourdough, right?
Yes, I have a friend who has a micro baking business, and she's going to come in, show us some of her stuff, and we're excited to have her on.
We are very excited to have her on. It should be good. All right, American Heart Month. Love your heart.